Greetings everyone from Seattle, where it has been cold and slushy, and not in the good way. If you know me from being your neighbor here in Queen Anne neighborhood, I'm Charlie. If you know me from listening to my music, I'm Chaz Got the Spins, and you're listening and or watching the third volume of the DCRec podcast. And the purpose of these 4 podcasts is to promote my upcoming album that's going to drop on May 22nd called Spare 3 Nails. And in each podcast, I am answering for you one simple question. And the topic of this episode's podcast is the question, how? So the answer to the question, how, is by any means necessary within reason. And what I mean by that is, how do I maintain this life, and how do I put together projects to release on a regular basis? You know, going back to the very beginning, when I was a child, I was never number one or great at anything, but I was always attracted to music and musical instruments. And when I finally had the opportunity to sit down at a piano before I had ever had taken any lessons or anything, I felt the power in my fingertips. I understood that this is the thing that's gonna plug me back into the world and, you know, sort of get me on a track that I want to be on, and something that matters to me. The other answer to the question, how, is all by myself. That's how it's always been. I mean, my playing can't be credited to anyone who taught me anything. I took a few basic piano lessons when I was in school, but no one saw any potential in me for whatever reason. So, you know, the real piano lessons came to wearing the headphones with one position this way, so I could have the headphones plugged into my little Korg Poly 802 that didn't have external speakers, and playing, you know, whatever record was on, probably Genesis, and like learning things for the first time and being astounded that I could do some of these things in some capacity that these other people that I really admired were doing. And it was reasonable to me that, well, I could take all this stuff that I was learning, which was essentially musical theory, and craft my own thing. And that's how I became a solid writer. A player, I'm still working on my playing, and I'll probably be working on that till I'm dead, but I feel like I've got the creation process down, and that's what I'm excited to share with you this coming May. How can also be answered like this, through lots of trial and error, just doing it, trying things. You know, I hesitate to use the word wrong, saying like doing things the wrong way and learning. Doing things any way that I could get it done, and learning from that process. And what I'm talking about is the process of getting what's up here out of here in a way that it can go in here for you in a way that you understand. Because me sitting at a piano singing my little ditties, I require production. I require a lot of production. You know, that's and I'm okay with that, because production is the process that I love. That's the most creative time for me. I can hear the entire thing finished in my head. It's just a matter of me figuring out how to get it out of my head and into your ears the way it sounds in my head. And, you know, for the past few years, I feel like I've been knocking that out of the park. I'm finally where I want to be. But how I do it is I try. And I'm not discouraged by people who suggest that I shouldn't. That's just somebody failing at something, which is trying to get me to stop. Don't be a failure. Don't be a failure. And lastly, to answer how, well, I left it all behind. You know, I grew up in a small town with zero opportunities for anything. And when you don't know what the world is outside of your little bubble, you can't fathom that there's something out there for you anywhere. So you stay and you make do. And I made do by doing a lot of things that I didn't give a damn about. And eventually, somehow, in the chaos and madness of all of that small town life, I met a partner who I felt was mentally equal to me. And that partner turned out to be a woman that I was also very attracted to. And when we hooked up, it was explosive. And eventually we left and we moved from our small town to Seattle, where there were all kinds of opportunities for both of us that we never dreamed that we as small town kids would have. So, and then after being here, I finally succumbed to the urge to go back to my first love, which is music. And speaking of music, it's time to give the plug. So starting on Friday the 13th, songs from the album started dropping early on SoundCloud, and they will continue to drop every Friday until all 8 songs are able to be listened to on SoundCloud. They're dropping out of order. I challenge you to listen to them out of order as they drop and see if you can hear what the narrative is, because the album Spare 3 Nails is a narrative that begins with a prologue, jumps right to the epilogue, and then the next 6 songs tell the meat of the story. And as they drop, I challenge you to see if you can discover what is the narrative of Spare 3 Nails. Lastly, I want to share a secret with you, and the secret is the answer to how. And here's how. Try. Use everything that you have up here, which is probably more than you realize, and try. Don't wait for someone else to tell you how, specifically, because how people get it done is really, it's an individual thing. It's what's in here that makes it possible. It's not collaborating with somebody that you think is gonna make your fan base grow. It's not paying the money to the places that send, trying to get on the radio. You're not getting on the radio if your label or, base is my size. It's just not happening. They're not interested. How? You gotta kick the door in, and you gotta do it by trying your best. I wish you the best. See you soon.